I'm going to be talking about my personal experiences with the lines that I carry as a licensed esthetician. So I'm going to give my honest thoughts, what I think of their support and why I brought them on to Skin by You. But first, I'm Victoria, a licensed esthetician. I've grown my Instagram to over 119,000 followers. I have a huge esthetician community, and I play a big role as being a leader and a trusted resource for estheticians in the space. So I first want to talk about the line that I initially brought on to Skin by You. It was the first line that I invested in, which was Skin Better. And I previously had worked with this line at a few med spas that I worked at. I absolutely fell in love with the line. Trio was actually the first product that I tried from Skin Better, and I haven't gone back since. And it's been, 6 years, 7 years. And the second product that I brought on that I tried was Alpharet Overnight Cream. And that was so unique to me because I have such sensitive skin. So to be able to use a retinoid that really truly works and gives gentle yet effective results was such a life-changing product for me personally. But Skin Better was a line that I really was set on when I first started my business. So it was a line that I brought on because I wanted to have a solid anti-aging home care for my clients, because as you know, home care is the most important part, and also carrying Skin Better attracts a certain type of clientele that is typically introduced to other advanced treatments, more medical services. And I just really wanted to be known for a treatment-based provider when I first started and attract a premium clientele.
Yeah, I remember talking about Skin Better and thinking about the results that they get at home being so important. But when we first opened, we weren't able to bring on the more advanced modalities, and we didn't have the big fancy machines. There was no hydrofacial, there was no microneedling. It was just regular facials. And I remember going over that with you as we were trying to figure out the audience and, who the clients were going to be. You were really adamant on making sure that even if we didn't have everything perfect in the treatment room, that you could sell products where people can get results at home. And I don't even think we fully realized the type of clientele Skin Better was going to bring until we had it. Yeah. So until the products were on the shelves and we were promoting them, then we started to realize that you actually had clients come in and tell you, oh, I came to you because you have Skin Better, and that's my favorite. I trusted you. That's my favorite skincare line. So those few things really helped a lot in the beginning of getting more clients with it. But then also really quickly, the clients that you were able to sell Skin Better regimens to were immediately getting results. So they were coming back, right? And that really is what matters more than anything else. If you want people to rebook after 30 days, you want to make sure that their home care is feeling amazing. And, also they run out of products and they have to come back to you too, which is also, a good way to keep people that reoccurring income coming in. But yeah, just that being such a big kind of marketing idea as a whole. Like it wasn't, I know you loved it personally, so you're like, oh, it's an easy sell because I'm passionate about it. But really, as far as the marketing went, for how much you spend to open up an order with Skin Better, which at the time was $2,500. I don't know where it is now. We haven't placed an opening order with them since then. But they have lower minimum orders once you're on. But that was a big deal. And that was a lot of money for us. And there need to be a strategy behind bringing such an expensive skincare line on.
And I think it's really important to sell what you fall in love with and what you truly believe in, because that is going to translate to the client experience and you being able to talk about a product that you genuinely love. Because if I would have brought on Skin Better just because everybody else around me was, I probably wouldn't have been able to sell it as well. It was from personal experience of me constantly trying the product, something that I fell in love with, and how I felt like I could really bring it to Skin by You, and making sure that I'm always thinking of, okay, what do I need and what are my goals for my business, instead of looking at everybody else around. And then Skin Better, my personal experience when I worked at med spas, their support was amazing. I had some great reps in Florida. And even when we moved to Arizona, they took the time to meet and grab lunch with us. And I think that they really do support. At the time they did support. I think now, because they got bought out by L'Oreal, I feel like it's just so big now that I don't I don't feel as much as the support that I did in the beginning, but again, I love the product, and they are always, doing classes that you can attend in person and just ways for you to really grow. And if you want to be hungry and learn more, there's so many opportunities. Again, I haven't had like a personal connection with Skin Better when it comes to carrying the product, and who knows if I ever will. But I would love to eventually be able to, be a leader in the space for Skin Better. That is a goal of mine. But yeah, I think that overall, I would say Skin Better is a pretty supportive brand, and they're always commenting like, thanks for recommending Skin Better Science.
Yeah.
So I think that they do have a good support system.
Yeah, it's decent. I do really, Skin Better early on also had their portal to purchase online and get like kind of almost like an affiliate that they use. And they early on were one of the only, few kind of medical skincare or, higher grade skincare that did that professional grade. I don't know. You could use whatever word you want. You guys can be mad at me. Victoria didn't say it. But I appreciated about them a lot, and it helped with clients who moved away. It helped us in the beginning. We had some extra cash able to come in. Getting into a little bit of the dirtiness already is that, recently after Skin Better was bought out and they changed their portal online, we did see a huge dip in profit and sales coming through. And we've talked to other estheticians about this, and no one really knows the actual kind of the truth or what's going on. But something seemed a little fishy that we had a decent amount of people buying, and it's not a huge source of income for us. We've had some good months with them just online exclusively, but we are kind of averaging $400 or $500 a month because you have a handful of clients who've moved away or people who've met you online. And when they switched over to their portal to a new system, just sales stopped coming out of the blue, where we didn't have a month where we made less than $100 ever. And then we started going months where no money came in at all. And they said that there was nothing there. And you've talked to your reps a few times. We've had some stuff happen where clients purchased directly after you talked to them and sent them the link, and somehow you didn't get the sale for it. And we don't know much about that, but I want to put that out there just as kind of we don't push the online link anymore for that reason. We do our best to try to sell in person. Eventually we'll open up online retail where we'll ship our own products. If you're an esthetician and you already have the capacity to do that and you've built a system, I would recommend doing that over Skin Better's online portal, where
you
initially
have to just request a quote.
Oh, yeah, request a quote. Yeah, you can't just sell directly, but it's very similar still.
Yeah.
But I would just recommend that because, we've seen that giant drop, and, we stopped chasing it down. We're not people who are going to go and fight and cry about something, but we also just pivoted to, we're not going to promote people buying online, and their system is not organized enough where people are buying from your link and somehow it's going to somebody else, or they're just taking the whole cut. So just want to put that out there. As a precaution.
Yeah. And it was a little discouraging when we were having a consistent revenue from there. And even some months I made, way more than that. And so for that to kind of just be taken away, made me realize that you don't want to completely put 100% trust in companies, because you never know if they're going to change their systems or what you were relying on. So I always say take as much as you can and do it. If you have a team or you have a system in place, it is way more beneficial for you to create those own systems so that when something like that in business happens, you're not screwed, you know? And I think it's really interesting because that when they change their system to their new leads or whatever it is online, when somebody purchases, I had clients come in person, and it said that they weren't affiliated with me when they went to sign up under my link. And there was just a lot of little things that weren't happening before. So my advice would just be to take things in your own hands and making sure that you are always having systems in place with your business. And again, not relying on these companies, because yes, it's great when it's great, but once that gets taken away, there's going to be some angry people. And then the last thing I want to say about Skin Better is I feel like, I don't know. I think that they're esthetician. I feel like they're more dermatologist med spa focused. I wouldn't say it's super esthetician focused. Like even my rep, I feel like, I can tell that certain reps focus on med spas rather than a solo esthetician. So yeah, that was another thing I wanted to mention.
That's a struggle. I think, and a lot of brands really struggle with this. And I know that those med spas can spend a lot of money, and and I know that they should receive extra care, right? I mean, your clients who spend a lot of money and are regulars and treat your business with a lot of respect get a lot of extra care. I don't know if they actually they don't necessarily get more, but the clients who are just good and consistent. But I think the struggle is that I know that solo estheticians do make a big portion of these companies' sales, and it's just a lot of small accounts. And because of that, they kind of they're not, one day I want to do a whole series on if I was head of marketing of a brand, what would I do? And all of these brands really struggle with leaning into estheticians, and they only hurt themselves, right? Because as more skincare lines and brands pop out, it gives estheticians more options. And really, we look at the next 3 to 5 years, I think estheticians are going to make an even bigger wave in this industry. And the brands who don't jump on soon are going to get left. And brands like Skin Better, let's say other, and there already is a handful, but more brands come out with, supplemental products that maybe Skin Better's not crushing at, like maybe a cleanser, or, let's say even the moisturizer, a better one comes out, and Skin Better's just known for, their more unique products like their Alpharettes or their Maestro. Estheticians are going to start picking the brands that are focused on estheticians and that really lean into and partner with more estheticians, not just the big ones too. And, I know us being a larger account, we do expect some brands to lean on us as someone who gets a ton of reach and really has pull in the space. We're able to get over 100 attendees to our event. We have a Patreon of 1,500 people. We clearly have some motion in the aesthetic industry. So it's silly for them to not use that and partner in some ways. And it doesn't necessarily mean pay. It doesn't mean anything crazy, but just respecting estheticians who are just diehard for your brand. And I can say that about multiple estheticians that we see across the space, that we scratch our heads at to go, why is the brand not having you ever, why are they not doing UGC content with you? And Skin Better, if they were hey, Victoria, here's a care package, can you make us a couple Instagram reels? You would, because you love them anyway. And it's just that thought. It's just a very simple, we don't need any major money coming in. It's just a brand who goes, and Hydrofacial's done this really well, where they've sent the cakes out. They'll send sweaters out, right? And I've seen estheticians from 3,000 followers up to 50,000 followers get that, because Hydrofacial knows, and they're not always perfect. Hydrofacial has their struggles, but they do have a good idea of it only takes a little bit. It doesn't take tons of money. It just takes a little bit of we see you. We see that you are passionate and caring. And I think Skin Better definitely struggles with that. And the reps, don't get me started on reps, because I think reps, I don't really want to attach them to the company as a whole, because they're kind of their own entities in a lot of way. And usually
reps will make or break your experience with the company, though. I will say it's if I love a rep and that gets taken away from me and it's a completely different experience, I'm upset. I'm I want somebody who supported me like the old rep did. Now, obviously, as bigger brands grow, I'm happy for them as always. I'm sure every brand can't reach every single esthetician in this space. But overall, again, just to kind of summarize Skin Better, I do think that they are a supportive brand. Love their products. I think that every single skincare company could do better in marketing, I will say. There's such a hole in the market, in my opinion, for estheticians, and what other big brands like Physicians Formula or, brands at Sephora, they're doing that. I think skincare lines in the esthetician space can do more of. So I'm hoping that, as things evolve, that it can grow into a more successful platform for estheticians. Okay, now the next brand I'm going to talk about, I have it so that I brought on, was Face Reality. Face Reality, I will say, it absolutely transformed my business. So when it came to the education of truly understanding acne, me being able to effectively treat acne and having good quality products that help me to get consistent results with my clients. So the range of treating acne with different skincare ingredients or even different percentages, and the formulation and everything at the time was amazing. And so one thing that I would say is product was great. Education aspect is great. And I would still recommend somebody to take, the Face Reality course if you're, wanting to learn more about acne. But at the time I felt like when I brought on Face Reality within like the first year, or even two to this day, Face Reality never recognized me when I was posting my before and afters, tagging them in my videos. I mean, it constantly. And I felt like, and it could have just been their social media team, but I felt like I was getting no recognition from the brand. And that's just my personal experience. And it was just really frustrating, again, just, shouting, a brand from the rooftops and not getting like a like or a comment. Like, I'm like, what the heck? Like,
and I thought we were spending pretty good money with them too,
yeah,
right? I mean, not only that, not that we were one of their bigger accounts, but like we were consistently selling a lot of product as well. And they don't do reps or anything. So it's just, you hear nothing from a brand at all. Can definitely be a struggle. And at the time, we were hyper growing on Instagram, and we were doing some partnerships with other big skincare brands, and to them, like, not even a DM. We were making whole videos highlighting Face Reality. And that definitely, it could come down to one bad social media person, but then as a company, you can't let one social media, and we've heard the Face Reality struggle with other estheticians too. And some of them have before and afters that are popped a lot more than us, to have thousands and thousands of that they tag Face Reality, and they've said the same thing, that like, oh, they don't care until, I don't know, until you submit to be an ambassador.
Absolutely.
Which I think is just it's a missed market. Like, it's a marketing opportunity that, it keeps you excited about a brand. And, like, Skin Better's a silly thing, but them commenting on everything you tag them in, it's silly, but it still feels like, okay, at least they're doing something. Yeah. There's somebody on social media, they say they appreciate it. And that little gesture that they have a team member that's going out and making sure people, feel that way. Go back to Hydrofacial. They do this really good job at sharing stuff constantly on their stories or reposting estheticians' videos, which, if you're a younger esthetician and Hydrofacial reposts your video, it's the greatest feeling in the world.
I remember my first Hydrofacial repost. I was so excited. I remember yelling and be like, oh my gosh, I reposted my video.
Yeah, you pour so much energy into like a social media post, and a brand
or Dr. Nassif reposted my booster that I posted. I remember that was like
that was like really early
celebrity esthetician moment. I was like, wow, it's on his page, even though it probably wasn't even him.
Yeah, but going back to Face Reality, another thing that I loved about Face Reality at the time is that we only had Skin Better, and we had a really small line called Skin Fitness, which we don't talk about too much because they're really tiny, and they were kind of mostly back bar. But what Face Reality also did is it had a lower price point for a lot of clients who didn't want to buy full Skin Better regimens, or maybe it was their first time seeing you and you were building that trust still, and you could get them on like a more budget friendly cleanser or serum or moisturizer, and they love the products even for non-acne clients. So it also was a great way, and there's other lines that can also do that. They were just the first one for us. At the time, you were trying to get the acne information specifically, and we were kind of trying to figure out what the next line to bring on was. You were still selling a decent amount of Skin Fitness and weren't necessarily loving the results, and Face Reality really came in there, and we're able to have a brand that had a full cohesive line that if somebody did want to get on all of them, they could, even for non-acne prone skin. So that helped a lot financially, is that it upped the order, average orders. And at the time we were doing a facial special, which, hindsight wasn't the best for business, but when you're able to sell some products with that, even just a couple, did increase our profit margins and help keep us alive.
Yeah. And then the last thing I want to kind of wrap up Face Reality with is that it seems like they've been taking a lot of feedback, which I will give credit to the brand. It seems like they have been taking feedback of the complaints that estheticians are having. So for me to see that from a company, I think that's huge. And not that they're perfect by any means. I really have not paid that much attention anymore, but it seems like from the emails that I receive, or even just the text messages that I receive, I do see that they are actively trying to work to be better again, which is huge. Not a huge fan of them going into like that whole skin laundry thing, where they're kind of pushing it onto like that new retail space or whatever it is. I'm a little confused on what it is, but and them not being called acne experts, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Have they talked about that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
It was on the Facebook group, which I'm not a fan of those Facebook groups. Facebook groups are just so much drama in my opinion. I kind of despise them.
Well, going
But there's
back to
a lot of feedback in those groups.
yeah, about angry
Everyone's
estheticians.
complaints.
Yeah, given a little context there, if you guys haven't watched the podcast, we did. I mean, it's been a few months now, but we had a little bit of a tiff, some beef with Face Reality, some things that Victoria was upset about, and we've been very outspoken about our frustrations with them as a company. They changed some formulations, and then, of course, kind of the support that we were looking for, it was just ghosted with them. So when it comes to, we try to be really honest, and not being afraid to change our mind is huge. And I think a lot of estheticians are so stubborn, and we've been stubborn in the past too. And as we grow and we have kids and marriage, we should give people grace and mercy. And I think brands can change, and watching a brand pivot if necessary is amazing to see. And Face Reality hasn't fixed all of the issues yet. But recently we saw the emails that they announced, like they're giving a credit back when you sign up for their Face Reality, their course, their program. They're giving a credit to buy products, which they took away for a long time, and estheticians were really upset about that. And it's a pricier course, which I could still argue it could be worth it even without the credit. But it just does give back to that esthetician that's just getting started. And I know for a company it doesn't cost that much, but it helps an esthetician really blossom too. So it's not only like, oh, estheticians should get more free stuff, but it's a good marketing move, because when you're giving an esthetician some products to get going with, they're more likely to sell more. They have more hands-on, right? I think everybody wins from it. Mm-hmm. But them pivoting and doing that, they didn't have to do that. Like they're doing okay, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not doing that because they're struggling financially. They're just taking a step that they believe is going to help the solo estheticians that are just beginning to start accounts. And we really appreciate that. And, I hope when they take and they do things like that internally, maybe they are working on stuff. We've talked to a close friend of ours, Cece, and she's really on the inside over there. She's an ambassador and talks to, she's very outspoken with their team. And she's talked to us a lot that she's taken a lot of problems to them, and in a lot of ways they've been open-minded and listened to the struggles that not only she's having, but she keeps her ear to the streets to make sure if estheticians are struggling with something, she's going to go right to the inside and send a nasty email or go right face to face with the owner of Face Reality, which I think we love Cece so much for that. But she said that they've been pretty open and have an ear for the struggles and that they want to do better. And of course, until they do it, it doesn't matter what they want to do. But I just want to say I do think that's great when a brand can pivot and do better. Yeah,
Cece is an amazing esthetician. She's just so supportive with so many different providers in the space. She's a great resource for estheticians as well. Just love her. She's not afraid to speak her mind, to be honest with, what she's feeling and how she can help support estheticians. So I want to give her a quick shout out because she's such an amazing esthetician.
Go subscribe to her Instagram. She probably has some, we haven't subscribed yet because you have a few more that you want to overwhelm you on Instagram.
Yeah,
but
she'll
I know
actually be speaking at our event. So if you want to dive into ingredients and how to really implement products in the treatment room and not just like general, here's what glycolic acid is, here's what mandelic is. It'll be tools for you to actually look at ingredients and be able to help support your clients and actually get those results in the treatment room to help you understand on a deeper level. So it's not everything with the event is not surface level. We're really going to dive deep into some things. But yeah, Face Reality, again, very happy. I'm always happy when brands can like pivot and make those changes that we all want to see. If you've listened to our podcast from the beginning, again, we're just really open and honest. So as like, it's kind of like storytelling as you're listening to our podcast, you're getting little bits and pieces of updates of kind of like what's going on. Yeah. Now I want to go into Mixie, since that kind of ties into, timing of me maybe switching some products out, slowly introducing my clients to Mixie. I've been loving Mixie skincare. Acne, it's founded by Acne Maddie. She's an incredible esthetician who gets fantastic results. She's an acne expert. So when there was, a missing piece in Face Reality, and when they changed the Acne Med formulation, I didn't realize at the time that all my clients why they were kind of going a little bit backwards, or maybe their skin was freaking out, but it was when Face Reality changed their Acne Med formulation. And I've learned now I'm so glad that I have a solution or an alternative to the Acne Med when it doesn't work for my clients, which is Mixie. But that's really the turning point of when I was like, I can't keep doing this to my clients. Like, I'm facing my clients in the treatment room, and for them to not get the same results as they did, and the only thing that changed was the Acne Med formulation, I was like, I can't do this. So that's when I decided to really switch to primarily carrying Mixie for my acne line. I like to say it's like an elevated version of some formulations, and that you will still get great results with. So the support from Mixie, I feel like, is really esthetician focused, and something that I think a lot of estheticians were really drawn to, because it's something that's missing in the space. So, free education. She has some great videos on how to use the products, how to understand acne and her products, and just really supporting estheticians and listening to the feedback of what's missing in the industry. So that's what I really love and appreciate about Mixie. Now I still do carry some OGs of Face Reality. I still keep a lot of their products on hand because I do have a lot of clients that, were clients and they just like repurchase the product. So I do still keep some Face Reality on hand. Hydra Balance, that's like a really popular product for me. So I do continue to keep, Hydra Balance. There are a few clients that I actually have kept on Acne Med now that I'm like working on the advanced Acne Med. Essentially, everybody's skin just responds differently, and I think that to play it safe, like Mixie's the way to go. I put everybody new on Mixie, but people who aren't having an issue that are like, I'm really happy with my results, I want to stay on this product, I'm not forcing them to, switch the product. So as my business has evolved within these last few months, essentially, I have again been appreciating Face Reality's drive to move forward. But also, again, like Mixie's just such a great line, and the support from Mixie that I get just means so much. So I love supporting, other estheticians. I love supporting smaller brands. And she's just grown like crazy. And there's a good reason why, because the product's great, the education is there. And she's just coming out with more and more. And I'm excited to test out her back bar that she hasn't released yet, but she's talking about.
Yeah, you just have to keep in mind too, if you're an esthetician, that Mixie is smaller. She is an esthetician. She's building. There has been some product sellouts. That's taken a little while to get products back. That's just, you get a lot of the pros.
Toner.
Yeah, you get a lot of pros when you work with a smaller brand who's exploding. But there can be some cons. So it's just being patient with those things. And it can be a struggle because you have clients waiting for stuff and you didn't order enough and you sold more than expected. That just does take a little bit of patience. So just understand that with her, and understand that she is still growing and expanding. And, we're patient with her because we know what she's doing is she's taking the time and perfecting it. Anybody can go out and make a skincare line now. It's very much more cost effective than it's ever been before. There's a lot of amazing formulators out there that you kind of can do a few Googling and you can find skincare. You can white label skincare that other brands that in the space are already using and doing, besides stuff that's like patented. So for her to take the time and formulate correctly and not just go and white label something, it just does take so much longer. They just got a big, huge warehouse because they've mixed stuff themselves before. So it's just being patient, understanding that those things come with a small line. So just kind of want to put that out there because, when you talk about like kind of support from Face Reality and having this robust system, and they've been doing it for so long, there's a lot less hiccups in the road.
Yeah.
Shipping tends to be a lot faster with Face Reality because they have a giant team.
Yeah.
They get cheap shipping. They can maneuver and change really quickly if there's delays or anything. And Mixie is not there yet. So just kind of want to put that out there because we're talking about the pros and cons of everybody.
Yeah.
And I believe that Mixie will build an amazing system. She has a great support system behind her over there. It just, takes some time to... It's at that weird, awkward, like growing level where you're right in the middle where you can't quite like hire something gigantic without like a giant loan. But you're kind of smaller where it just takes so much to get things moving. So just kind of want to put that out there for Mixie before we moved on to the next line.
Yeah. Honestly, just to kind of summarize again with Face Reality Mixie, I just want to emphasize, like, it's not a competition thing. Like, both brands, help me grow in different ways in my business. And it's, again, whatever you fall in love with and what really helps you shape to be the best esthetician. Again, I primarily carry Mixie now. That's like my acne line. Any client that's coming to me that is starting on my bootcamp program is on Mixie now. But again, it doesn't mean that I can't carry Face Reality anymore. I think that, there was a big thing in the industry where everyone was like, oh, Face Reality versus Mixie. And it's like they're both, like you don't have to pick one or the other. It's whatever you fall in love with and what you feel supported from the brand, because you could feel like tons of support from Face Reality. And if that's you, like, I'm happy for you. Vice versa with any brand. So again, it's what you feel supported by, what you fall in love with, how you can communicate with your clients, and what you love. So
yeah, we're always just going to speak our honest thoughts and what we've went through with everybody. And yeah, results may vary. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to go into Factor 5 Skin. This is a treatment and product line that I have been loving. I will say, like, from the beginning, their support has been incredible. I think just really the kindness and the appreciation I felt from the beginning. So from the second I posted, their peel in the treatment room, they were so appreciative. They collaborated with it. And I think that's something that they're constantly doing still with other estheticians that make them feel appreciated, because that is huge. And then even just, how they've been willing and wanting to work with me as an esthetician. So always responding, always just being a supportive system, trying to see how like the partnership can work together. And then we just recently, they're one of our sponsors for the aesthetic experience. And my personal connection with the rep and the founder of Factor 5 Skin, they are just so supportive and loving that I just initially felt that through email, and they're just such a great team. Now, I'm not kidding, like the eye and lash cream, I want to talk about that because that's one of my top selling products now. And I've had clients, and I've seen it for myself, that's why I can't use it on my brows every single day, is that it will make your eyelashes and your brows grow like crazy. So I'm like, I don't want to have to get my eyebrows done every like 2 weeks, right? So it has been such an amazing product. And I've had clients say that they had like some bald patches and that their hair is finally growing back in their brows. So it is such a great product that truly does give results. And then their peel is such an amazing no downtime peel. My clients love it. There is, no pore cloggers in it, which is huge, especially for somebody that is an acne client for me. I just really appreciate the brand and their products. And I truly believe that the word that I think of when I think of great skincare brands is integrity and just being supportive. And I think that they are just such an amazing brand that really is such a refreshing light in the space.
We are a little bit biased and with some of these brands too. The brands that were so willing to jump on as a sponsor for the aesthetic experience really meant the world to us. And I hope everyone realizes that we are just an esthetician business like everybody else, and we have some dreams and are doing some cool things. But when we pitch to brands to sponsor this show, like you can kind of say, oh, it's a no-brainer. Like they have over 100 attendees and they're all estheticians, and it can be, that's a great opportunity for brands, but they did have to believe and trust that we're going to put something great on that their name is going to be attached to. They have to believe that we're going to do the promotion for it, and it's going to be a good look for the brand as a whole. And they were one of the first brands to say yes, and they said yes really quickly, which, we talked about this a lot of building a premium brand and what we've built with the Victoria and the Skin by You name. And we know that makes it a little bit easier for brands to say yes when it comes to partnering, but still a brand like that to jump on it really quickly before we had any other major sponsors. So we had them locked in before we locked in Hydrofacial. And Hydrofacial, the goal was to get them locked in first so then we could sell everybody else with like, look, Hydrofacial's already doing it. And we were still waiting to work out the deal with Hydrofacial. And, Hydrofacial was interested, and, it just took a little bit longer to like really lock that in. So for Factor 5 to jump on and go, yes, we trust and believe you guys. And with the quickness, there wasn't no thinking. It wasn't, we'll see how many tickets sell.
I do think that says a lot about a brand that really sees the vision of you. And I think that it almost takes a thinking outside of the box for a business of them not doing something that they've been doing. And they're like, oh, well, this works, so I'm not interested in, evolving with something that might be new or something you've never seen before. And so for them to have that support says a lot about a brand, because I could be coming to you guys and being like it also, it's the way that you communicate through email. Like if there's, I had this one, it was ASCP. They reached out and they were so like nasty on email. And I'm like, I'm not going to partner with you with the way that you're speaking to me. So even if they said no, like I have 100% confidence that I would have such a good experience with them because of the way that they communicated, and they were so kind to me. They were.
We haven't talked about the ASCP story yet. We'll have to talk more. The reason why we have so much to say and ideas about the way brands communicate is one, that Victoria is a brand in the space now as well, and we hold ourselves to a high standard of communication with other estheticians or anybody who purchases things from us in support. And we have communicated with a lot of major brands. I mean, we did a giant brand deal with Physicians Formula, which is a giant Fortune 500 company that's in Target and Sephora and Walmart, and we see how they communicate. And they had some struggle, but overall, that's how communication should go for partnerships. And so that's the reason why we can speak from kind of a little bit more of an inside than maybe a regular esthetician who's just like has a rep and they buy from the rep, and then how often does the rep text them back. But we really look at kind of like the internal of these brands when we've pitched ideas or have come to them with things. And we understand there's budgets, and we never hold a brand to a brand going, we just can't work with that right now. That doesn't matter. We just care about their communication, their trust, and the ideas, and them being open-minded to new things. And the way you communicated with Factor 5 just showed they want to be at the groundbreaking, right? And we'll go into the story with ACP another time because it's a little bit off topic, but they reached out for a brand deal with us, and they just had, I don't know if it's somebody on their team or they hired a marketing agency.
Is this fake? I'm like, there's no way. But then I saw everybody else partnered with them, and I'm like, I was just shocked with the way that I was they communicated.
We won't work with people if we feel, because if they're going to give us that support, what happens if an esthetician has issues? We're going to go tell people, go use this. And when we've contacted them, it was nasty and not good support. And we're really careful on brand deals where we're not going to take money and send estheticians to a way that we would ever feel like they would get bad support from.
And I think it's really important for you to hold ground to your values as an esthetician and who you are, because our whole thing is in the aesthetic space. We want to be a light and a trusted resource. So if that doesn't align with an experience that we're having with a brand, how do you say hasta la vista, baby?
Yeah, how do you say it? And then you said well, we're not afraid to cut them off. And so we're really careful. And even with the brands that we love, we've weighed out options before of like, if this doesn't change, we cannot continue to partner. And even Skin Better, we were a little bit worried when they sold to L'Oreal, and even to this day, like making sure they don't pivot in a way that is we cannot send people a direction and a brand turn their back on them.
I do think that Skin Better needs to partner with more estheticians.
They
literally have the same estheticians that promote constantly. And I'm like, y'all need to there's so many estheticians that are supporting, and I think that's where again brands miss out because they are so stuck on something that's working. I'm evolve.
You got some old people back there that are just no, we pay a dermatologist once a month. Right?
Exactly.
And it's crazy. And not everything takes pay, because there's these amazing estheticians that we find every day that make amazing content, and they're blasting a brand from the rooftop, and you're like, this should be on your page, right?
You guys, let's sign a petition right now and just get it going.
Victoria and I are really passionate. I think long term we're gonna do a lot more pushes in the future, and we got to figure out how and what's the best way to do it. And the first thing we're doing right now is bringing estheticians together and giving you guys all of this information so that we all can collectively move together. And we don't want to make this video too much about all of that, but the idea of charging for brand deals and what to say yes to, what to say no to, not to let brands walk all over you. And I do believe Victoria and I are going to lead the charge over the next few years and we'll just be completely open and honest.
We're going to be the change that y'all want to see in the industry.
And we're just going to air out all the prices, what we've been paid for things, whose brands that are good to work with, who are not good to work with, and really set a standard. And that standard is set across other industries. So it's not like we're doing something crazy. We're just doing it for the skincare, the esthetician industry, which is way too big now to not have the same standards as like hair and makeup and food and literally every other industry and all the other niches. They all have kind of typical systems of how people do things.
Yeah.
And the medical skincare industry is just dragging their feet because there's not enough people that are standing up. The big dogs on the top of the totem pole are keeping quiet because they're getting paid and they're happy with the way things are. And we're not. We're gonna shake it up, and we don't care because we see so many amazing estheticians that should be a part of these brands' big movements, and that's across every brand. Yeah. But okay, let's go back into the brands so we don't rant
so the
and
last
ramble.
line that I carry, I don't think I missed anything, is Plated. Plated is actually our most recent sponsor. What did I miss?
You missed Hydrinity.
Oh yeah, I did. I'll go back to that. But
okay.
Plated is our most recent sponsor for the aesthetic experience. I love Plated. It's something that I took a year to bring on to Skin by You because I was like, that's a really expensive product. Like, how do I truly feel about it? But Plated has been one of the biggest blessings to my business when it comes to my clients loving the product and myself. It is like microneedling in a bottle. It truly is such a great product and the results have been phenomenal. So the science behind that, I just absolutely love. I think that, if my clients love it as much as I'm loving it, we're golden, no pun intended, liquid gold in a bottle. So Plated has been really great. I haven't had much experience with the whole company. I'm not on their advisory board or anything, but I will say that the rep that I have is a great rep. She wasn't pushy. She really took the time to educate me. She supported me in a sense of, I was like, hey, I want to try Plated hair before I sell it. She gave me a sample, and those little things mean so much to me. She gave me a sample of that. And then once I started to actually see the crazy results that I actually have baby hairs growing that haven't grown in years, I brought it on, and that's been amazing too. But then she also gave me initially a bottle of Plated. So those little things go a long way for me. I've had a rep in the past, while I've been in Arizona, where I'm like, hey, I genuinely want to try this product before I promote it. Cause again, integrity is really important for me and for me to truly believe in something. And she was like, no, I can't, I don't have anything for you. And I'm like, I know you do. You just tell me all the time, who you reserve it for. And it's just that's a slap in the face to me. And I won't be in constant communication with a rep that's like that. I'm like, okay, well, you don't support me, so I'm going to just, support the brands that support me. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that with reps as a whole. So for somebody to go out of their way to give you those samples and support you in the ways that you need to be supported for you to be able to sell better, that goes so long. So yeah, Plated has been amazing. I truly I feel in general, they're pretty supportive. Yeah. I feel I am on their hidden list or something when it comes to Instagram, because every single time I DM, it's their automatic system. So if you're listening, Plated,
yeah, those automatic DM systems are absolutely terrible. Yeah. I think their social media is kind of rough still. I don't think Plated really dialed in their socials yet. So I do think they need to work on that a lot. And, when we talk about support from brands, social media is one of the best ways and easiest ways for brands to do that. Yeah. So yeah, they definitely get on top of that. They need to get up to date and kind of get with the trends, not literally trends, but that's why I'd say they're a little bit rough. And then overall, they are a sponsor for the event. So same thing. They did care. We did have some back and forth with them. We had a little bit of negotiating, for things that they were looking for that fit their budget, which is just fine. But they were open to have those conversations with us. They were responsive, and we sent a lot of emails out. We've emailed all top major brands, and some of them couldn't even get through to anybody, which is not really a good sign for a brand brand. If, you know, an esthetician like us is putting something big on and trying to really get some movement in the industry and we can't even get through to you is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are not going to hold everybody to if they sponsored the event or not. I like Skin Better. We couldn't even get it. Well, we only got a hold of our rep and the rep didn't pass us through, or they just knocked us down. But yeah, so I think, Plated has some stuff to work on there. I know that they're, you know, kind of getting big really quickly. And some of these brands like them, I feel like they're so science backed.
Yeah.
Where they're not really, you know, some of these other brands are really good at like fitting in with the times. And I feel like Plated is not really trying to do that, you know, yet. I think they should be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's some room for growth there. But we've had some good conversations with their team as well. And also our friend Skin Delaney has connections with the Plated team, and she said good things. Jared, our friend Jared, who's in marketing, has talked to the owner, also said really good things about her. So we'll meet them, and then we'll also have, you know, more conversations and honest feelings about them. But amazing product, right? We'll give them that so far. Product is amazing, and there's been nothing suspect as far as you know how they run the business.
I don't really
everything.
have anything negative to say about. I don't have anything negative to say. Again, I just think with like brands in general, we need to move with the times, y'all.
Yeah, we gotta catch up. Get in where you fit in.
Again, I think that's where Chris and I have really worked so hard to have ideas outside of the typical box, and so that's just new for brands. So we're working on it, you guys.
Yeah, we'll shake them up to make it easier for everybody. So let's talk about
the
Hydrinity.
last brand I want to talk about is Hydrinity.
You almost forgot about.
I know. I have had a great experience with Hydrinity. Every single rep that I've had is so supportive. They're so nice. And I've had like boxes that came damaged and they like drop one off for me. Not that happens a lot, you guys, don't freak out, but I've had that happen before, and they were just like, oh yeah, I'll replace it, no problem. They're super supportive, great product. You know, when it comes to their hyacinth mist and their hyaluronic acid technology, it is such a amazing product. Again, it feels premium, looks premium, feels so good on the skin. I'm in love with Hydrinity.
Yeah,
I love
their
their
mist
product.
was such a good kind of addition product, and I know that their hyaluronics are also amazing. I love them myself.
The dual weight is so good.
But yeah, the mist is it really hit. There was a, you know, you have this nice, big, beautiful regimen, and the mist was just an amazing add-on, and it's such an easy sell for people. And I know there's other mists on the market, and we're not going to argue about the bottle being airtight and all that. I mean, there's lots of arguments about that, but just the premium feel of a brand does matter, and I think people think it doesn't, but high-paying clients don't want to buy something in a cheap plastic bottle that feels like, you know, I don't know, a cheap hairspray or something. And when it comes to them, especially when it comes to skincare and they're buying all these like expensive, beautiful packaged products, you do want to keep that all the way through. So I think there's other hyacinths that are probably just as good.
Hyacinths?
Maybe, is it hyacinth?
You mean hypochlorous acid?
Hypochlorous acid? What? Oh, I called it hyacinths. Like
there's so many hyacinths on the market.
Their name specifically. Oops.
Sorry, I just had to clarify
you're good.
that.
Yeah, please don't, because then people would be confused. But yeah, there's so many hypochlorous
hyacinths.
There's so many hypochlorous acids on the market, and I'm sure that lots of them are pretty good, but the way Hydrinity beats all of them pretty much with their packaging and the feel and the way it fits in with some of the other professional skincare lines.
And I personally have a clientele that has no problem spending $60 on a hypochlorous acid spray. Again, it's something that I fell in love with. I fell in love with the way that it makes my skin feel, the way it sprays out on the skin. Everything just feels so premium. And I mean, everything that I use when it comes to skincare, it's an experience at home. So for me to create a more luxurious experience for my clients at home, that means a lot to me. And again, I fell in love with it. I carried Hydrinity, and that was like the first hypochlorous acid spray that I ever, brought on to my practice. So I have no reason to explore other options because I fell in love with it. And you can argue it whatever you want. I know somebody's going to be a hater on this video because there's always somebody, and they're going to be like, well, magic molecules is better. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it doesn't matter, guys. Sell whatever you fall in love with, you know? So, yeah, that's my personal experience with Hydrinity. I haven't really had like a personal connection, like on the higher, end of Hydrinity, but
Yeah, we're hoping to make more connections with them too in the future. I think they're same
reps,
thing that
right.
they could, good reps, but their branding and everything that they're doing could also use another big push forward. I think that they've copied a lot out of the Skin Better playbook. And if Skin Better is not perfect, and it's the same thing we talk about with estheticians, that just because a big esthetician does it doesn't mean you all need to follow in line. And the skincare brands do the same thing. Skin Better they did such a good job breaking into the industry, and every other skincare line's like, follow what Skin Better does. And then it's like, you look like, okay, well, they haven't done anything perfect. Why don't you guys, some wheels need to be reinvented. There's some things that you need to go back to the drawing board and go, we could do better at them. And there's a reason why we've had so much growth with Skin by You and everything that we do. And I'd argue that we have one of the bigger platforms in the aesthetic space for our podcast, with the views that we do over here, with the Patreon, the amount of members that we have. We're definitely in the top, 25 biggest estheticians on Instagram in the space. And the reason why we've been able to do that and do it so quickly is because we think outside the box. We don't follow along with what everybody else is doing. We look at it and go, what's the best way to do it? Now, sometimes the best way to do it is what other people have done, but it's not always. Right? So think about that when it comes to, we can also argue why we do so well in the treatment room as well. It's the same idea. We look at the other estheticians around us and go, don't do what they're all doing. Right? Like, how do we separate ourselves? How do we get ahead of and above the pack? With the practices that I have learned and what I put into practice with Skin by You is the reason why I can make the money that I do and work only 2 days a week. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I had a bad client because of the practices that I built with Skin by You, and just making sure that I've built my business in a sense where I'm attracting a premium clientele. Which, if you're not already attending, make sure you attend the aesthetic experience. I will be speaking on this topic. It will completely transform your business. And we have 5 to 6 other amazing speakers that are coming to the event for you to grow your business, 5x your business, understand ingredients, how to build a successful practice, great marketing tools, even in organic way, and just making sure that you can build yourself to be the best esthetician you can be. And we're going to end it with a dance party. So excited. And a plated dinner, get it all formal and fancy, and just have a great night. And you can join us for brunch on Sunday as well. If you've listened this far into the podcast, congratulations on caring about your business and wanting to learn more and hear all the ins and outs, and not dipping out after 10 minutes because you heard a brand that you don't carry, but actually absorbing all this information. And guys, we do this as well. We are diving into knowledge constantly. We're constantly learning ourselves. We're following along with people in the space. We're listening to other podcasts. So if you made it this far, congratulations. If you're listening this far, drop the word skincare in the comments just so we can congratulate you. And it'll be like an inside joke, because you're the people who actually are passionate about your business and wanting to grow it. And you trust us that we're going to be honest and give you insightful, interesting information constantly. But thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Oh, you want to jump in there? I'm going to give somebody a shout out. This is going to be my new thing. So I want to give a shout out to Rebellious Beauty. She's such an amazing esthetician. She's part of our Patreon. And she just said, I just redid my bio. I watched the Patreon on you guys editing the bios. OMG, I learned so much, and it actually feels a lot better with the changing. I know it's small, but I know it was needed. So that was just a random one that I pulled up out of our screenshots. But if you're not already a part of our Patreon community, there is over 140 videos in there for you guys to really elevate your aesthetics business. We are actually going to be starting the end of September. We're going to start doing lives every single week. So I like to say it's like your weekly live webinar for you to truly connect and grow your business. And it's not like you're just watching the videos and maybe you have some questions, and this is a way that you could really interact with us and just help like this little inner circle in our Patreon community. It's been such a blessing. And if you're a part of the Patreon, thank you so much for being a part of the community. Thank you for listening to our podcast. I know a lot of you do both. So we just appreciate all of your support. But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we hope you enjoyed this video.